The sun had only just begun to climb over the dusty horizon when Samuel Walker, a rancher with more silence in his life than company, saddled up his old bay horse and set out toward the trading post. The ranch had been in his family for 3 generations, but after his wife passed 2 winters back, and his grown sons rode east to start lives of their own, Samuel's world had shrunk to long days of labor and long nights of emptiness. He wasn't going for much, just milk, a simple errand, but truth be told, he was also looking for a reason to speak to someone. His boots crunched over the hard ground as he stepped into the little post store, only to find that the merchant was away. Instead, standing behind the counter was a young Apache woman. She moved gracefully, her dark eyes sharp yet carrying something deeper, something wounded but unbroken. She looked at him, not with fear, not with distrust, but with a calm steadiness that unsettled him in ways he couldn't explain. Samuel cleared his throat, adjusting the brim of his hat. "Just came for some milk," he muttered. The woman tilted her head, then poured fresh milk into a tin pail. "You are alone," she said softly, not as a question, but as if she could see right through the hollowness in him. He nodded, uneasy. Most folks didn't look past the surface, but she had, and it made him feel both exposed and strangely comforted. Her name, he learned, was Ayanna. She had been helping the merchant since her tribe scattered after a harsh winter left them without food or shelter. Many in town whispered about her, some with suspicion, others with pity. Samuel had heard the talk, but he saw something different, a quiet dignity, a resilience that reminded him of the mountains themselves. On his ride home, Samuel couldn't shake the image of her eyes that seemed to hold stories older than the land. Over the weeks, errands for just milk became frequent trips. Sometimes he'd bring small offerings, a loaf of bread he baked clumsily, or a blanket he no longer needed. Each time, Ayanna's guarded demeanor softened. She began sharing little pieces of herself, her memories of her people, her love of horses, the way she used to sing to the stars as a child. One evening, as a storm rolled across the plains, Samuel found himself caught at the post when rain poured in sheets. Ayanna insisted he stay inside until it passed. As thunder rumbled, she lit a small lantern and began to hum a melody, low and haunting. Samuel sat, listening, his heart aching in a way he hadn't felt since his wife was alive. He realized then that what he sought in milk and bread wasn't food at all, it was connection. But kindness often meets resistance in a harsh world. Rumors spread. Townsfolk muttered that a man like him shouldn't be keeping company with an Apache woman. Old friends turned distant. One even warned him that such ties only led to trouble. Samuel wrestled with doubt. Was he foolish, inviting trouble onto his already heavy shoulders? The turning point came one morning when he found Ayanna sitting outside the store, tears streaking her face. The merchant had sold her off to another family, treating her as little more than labor to be traded. Samuel felt a fire ignite in him. He had once lost someone he loved because he stayed silent. He would not make that mistake again. He spoke with the family, offering what little money he had. They laughed at first, saying she wasn't worth much more than a helping hand. But Samuel's voice held steel when he replied, "She's worth more than you'll ever understand." He gave up nearly half his savings, money meant for cattle feed, but walked away with Ayanna free. That night, as they sat by the fire in his modest ranch house, Ayanna looked at him with wonder. "Why would you do this for me?" she whispered. Samuel stared into the flames, then at her. "Because no one should live as if they don't belong. And because I don't want to be alone anymore. Not if I can help it." Her hand reached across the space between them, resting lightly on his. In that touch was a promise, not of possession, but of partnership, of 2 lonely souls finding in each other a reason to hope again. The months that followed were not without hardship. Neighbors gossiped, and storms tested their will. But on the ranch, something new bloomed. Together they worked the land, shared laughter over simple meals, and found healing in one another's presence. Samuel discovered that love could come again, not to erase the past, but to honor it with new beginnings. Years later, those same townsfolk who once whispered began to speak differently. They saw the strength of a ranch kept alive by two hearts beating in unison. They saw how Samuel stood taller, how Ayanna's laughter carried across the fields like music. And when strangers asked about the secret of his ranch's endurance, Samuel would smile and say, "I went looking for milk. But what I found was life itself."